Very good morning to you once again. If you're just joining us onto this story now, the Government Employees Medical Scheme, otherwise known as GEMS, is pursuing criminal and civil cases against those involved in 300 million worth of corruption. Forensic reports have revealed that some GEMS executives improperly benefited from the medical schemes over a period of 5 years. Now, the allegations include tender rigging, fraud, corruption and maladministration. Joining us now to talk to us about this matter is Dr. Stanley Moloabi. He is a Principal Officer at GEMS. Dr. Moloabi, thank you very much for your time. Are you willing to name and shame these executives that have put your name as a medical scheme into disrepute?
Good morning, Collie, and good morning to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika channel 405. I don't think it will help our cause to go that route. You have already stated that the issues that we are discussing that are referred to in the article are subject of criminal investigations and also civil litigation to recover whatever is recoverable. So I am now, just want to state that I am constrained by the fact that these cases are under investigations, and I will answer your questions to the best of my ability. However, even the implicated parties have stated, if you read the article, that they want their constitutional rights to be preserved, and we must respect that. However, the names of those implicated parties are part of those reports. They are in the article, so I don't think it would serve any purpose for me to restate them. They are subject of public information.
Well, Dr. Moloabi, as you say, the matter is before courts. There are civil claims being pursued against these people. When they were engaged in this alleged corruption, they were happy to take the monies. Why should they not be shamed? So that they do not repeat this, and so that those that may be tempted to do the same will know exactly what the consequences are.
Yeah. Colleague, just to correct, they are not yet before the courts. We have lodged the cases, so we will be waiting for the criminal investigation to progress, and it will go to court when it reaches that stage.
Yeah.
But as I've indicated to you, if you read the report, people are named. In fact, may I take the opportunity to say, even in the article itself, there are names that are named. For instance, the ex-principal officer, who, of course, they were all investigated, but they were found not to have done anything wrong. However, wrongly so, in the article, you find that they're still being referred to as those executives. So the executives that were involved in this, they are not part of GEMS anymore. There are employees who were dismissed. 7 were suspended. 5 resigned. 2 were subsequently dismissed. And as we have stated now, these matters are subject to investigation by the law enforcement authorities.
Yeah, Dr. Moloabi, you're going to have to forgive me for pressing you on this issue, because not so long ago, we were talking about medical schemes. In fact, you were a key among them who were involved in what the Council for Medical Schemes report came out and said this was essentially racial profiling against Black, Indian and colored doctors. And GEMS in particular was happy to splash the names of the medical practitioners who patients should not go to. But when it comes to people who were engaged in corruption in the executive of GEMS, you want to shield their names. How does that work?
Colleague, I don't think you hear me.
I hear
in the
you.
reports, in the article itself, the names are there.
Well, say them.
So, but colleague, as I have said, that please do not make me to jeopardize GEM's case by going into specifics that may be regarded as, that issue of if a case is under investigation, you jeopardize it with whatever you say. So that's why I'm being very careful, and I would not want to jeopardize the case that we have. It is very important that we abide by the laws and the rules, when we are dealing with such matters. It
All
is
right.
absolutely
Okay.
important.
All right. Let me move on then. Help us understand how they did this, how they allegedly rigged these tenders in order to benefit companies that they are linked to.
No, I mean, the reports give the details of the fact that, there are contraventions relating to things like allegations of interest, conflicts of interest in dealing with these things and influencing the outcomes in whatever manner. These details are there in these reports that we are referring to.
Dr. Moloabi, GEMS, as some media reports have suggested, it's put itself forward as the potential administrator of government's national health insurance scheme. Does this scandal of corruption potentially jeopardize your prospects as a medical scheme to essentially be the #1 medical scheme to administer the NHI?
Well, thanks that you're giving me the opportunity to correct that false report. GEMS has never been earmarked to be the administrator of NHI. That's completely wrong. And I would hope that journalists, when they report, they check their facts before they report, because then they mislead the public. But however, we always appreciate the opportunity to correct these things. GEMS is a medical scheme. We are carrying out a mandate that we have been given by the employer. The employer is government, which was as a result of a cabinet decision, which became a resolution of the PSCBC in 2005, where basically the mandate is that we must provide healthcare cover for government employees that is affordable. Now, we carry out that mandate, but what we do in relation to policy change, the health policy changes that are currently underway, we monitor what is happening, we interpret, and then what we do is that we do work within GEMS to align ourselves with the evolving policy changes within health. Remember, the ultimate goal is that the country wants to move towards universal health coverage. So what we do as we design our options, we come up with options that are aligned to policy changes. So anybody who's saying GEMS is earmarked to become the administrator, they are basically, it's false.
Let me jump in
they
there
must
quickly.
tell us where
Let me jump in there quickly then. Perhaps phrase the question differently. Do you have aspirations of administering the National Health Insurance Scheme by government?
We have always been very clear. Our position at GEMS is that we support the government in its endeavors to implement NHI towards reaching universal health care. Should we given any role, as we have been given a role now in terms of our mandate, to carry out the role that we are given. At any point in time, if we are given a role as an entity, we will carry out that role.
Therefore,
at the moment.
Therefore, Dr. Moloabi, and I'm sorry to cut in, therefore, with your stated aspirations, you're saying that you support government's policy framework around universal health coverage. Why should South Africans, especially those who are your members as a medical scheme, why should they trust you that you are going to carry out your work ethically and without any questions of corruption?
there are measures that usually dictate or show if an entity is doing well. So since inception, GEMS has never had a qualified report. We have consistently have unqualified reports. We had the problem of low reserves in 2016. We have turned around the entity. GEMS is at its strongest in terms of financial performance at the moment. And we are covering the needs of the healthcare members, of the members of GEMS when they need access to health. At the moment, as it is at the moment, GEMS has paid over 3.1 billion with respect to COVID claims. So we do everything that our members are entitled to in terms of their benefits. So basically, we do the work that we are assigned to do as GEMS.
But the problem,
and when there are problems, and when there are problems like the problem of corruption that has arisen, the board took very, very clear steps to ensure that these are dealt with. They instituted the investigations, which are the investigations that are quoted in the article, and then action was taken. And that is why these matters are actually before the criminal justice system, and we also pursuing a civil litigation case.
Dr. Moloabi, we're going to have to leave it there, but the issue here is that of ethics that seem to be lacking at GEMS. On the one hand, you are seen as people who are happy to rubbish medical practitioners' names who've worked very hard to get themselves to where they are, and instead a report came out and said you were involved in racially profiling medical scheme providers who under the apartheid years were severely prejudiced. In a democratic government, you allow yourselves to have done such a thing, and now there are allegations of corruption.
Tolly, I don't think you have read the interim findings properly. Please, I'm going to request that you read them. The interim findings
I've gone through
that,
those findings.
Well, can I restate the important one that says there is no implicit intention to racially profile, albeit that the outcomes, and those outcomes show that there is bias. So the outcomes did not necessarily mean that there was an intention. The outcomes as it is, and we have explained that in our response, so we will await obviously the final report. But I think you are making a conclusion that that the interim report hasn't made. And that is why I'm requesting that maybe you should please look at the interim findings again. It clearly says that the outcomes are the ones that show racial bias, but there could be confounding factors.
All right, Dr. Moloabi, we shall wait the final report of that particular investigation by the Council for Medical Schemes. For the moment, let me thank you very much for your time, Dr. Stanley Moloabi. He is the Principal Officer at Medical Scheme.